Hey there, Sanka, everybody. Welcome back for another amazing video. Hope you guys are doing good. Hope Ramadan is going fantastic for you guys. Ramadan's been amazing so far, alhamdulillah, and I hope it's amazing for you guys also. Today's video is one that I think a lot of people should listen to, and I think a lot of people truly want to understand. Why do I need to go for a halal mortgage or halal loans rather than conventional loans when I can save money on a conventional loan? Without any further ado, let's get this video started. All right, man, you must have heard a lot about mudaraba, musharaka, ijara, murabaha. What are these things? I already covered all this stuff in, I'll link the video up here, halal mortgages and stuff like that. What is the benefit, right? As soon as this market crashed and the interest rates went up to 5%, 6%, a lot of people started coming to me and asking, well, Ahmed, what is this halal mortgage? What can I know about it? Is it better than conventional mortgage? Because halal mortgages rates went below conventional mortgages rate. And this was only for this time because halal mortgages are not based off of interest rates, rather they're based off of business methodologies, which could be rental rate, which could be profit rate is not the same as interest rate. I know a lot of people say, oh, it's like holding ear from one side to the other side, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, in the front 5% here, 5% here, it's the same thing. It doesn't make a difference. No, there's a huge difference. This is what a lot of people who are jahil, I would say, or people who don't have a full understanding of the difference between halal mortgage and your conventional mortgage speak about. And I'm saying this with all due respect for my uncles and aunties who don't have full understanding, but they say like, oh, it's the same thing. Unfortunately, it's not for you. And I recommend that come to understanding that there is a huge difference. Now, let's start off with what the benefits are in the current market. So right now, you're looking at about a 5.6 to 6% rate, which is due to the rental rate, because a house right now in Canada, I'm explicitly about Canada, and this is one of the methodologies which is known as equity sharing. And so this rate is right now at 6%, which pretty much is the rental rate that you pay into your own mortgage, and you buy back over 25, 30 years. Okay. And best thing about this is that, okay, fine, 6% might look a lot, 5% might look like a lot, but it's an open mortgage. So let's just say you end up making a little bit extra bonuses. You do a side business, more money comes into your life. Alhamdulillah, mashallah. You can take that money and you can pay off your loan like this. It's an open contract. Just pay it off, get it over with. Because the reality is, in Islam, loans as a whole is a disliked concept. You should not be looking for ways of getting loans. Unfortunately, the West is based on the basics of loans. They're deeply entailed within concepts of loans. And this is why the entire West is a bubble market, because everybody's just based off of riba-based loans and system. And that destroys the economy even more. Okay? So first thing first, Islam does not like loans. But if you take a loan, there's a right way of doing loan, where the risk sharing is equal between the person who's giving you the loan and the one who's taking the loan. And this is in the concept that there is a benefit going back to the guy who's giving the loan. If he's just giving loan as, qarze hasana, that's like if he forgives the loan. But if he's just giving it as a qarz and he's saying, okay, no, in 6 months just give me the same amount back, no problem, I have no issues, that's different. Then he doesn't need to take the share of the risk. But in the concept that he's giving you loan but he's expecting something back in return, then there's concepts of equity sharing or capital or profit rate. So one benefit is an open loan, which means you can pay it off whenever you want. Secondly, right now, one of the greatest benefits is that there is competitive rates out there, and in the West there are multiple businesses that are giving you Sharia compliant loans. Now you have to be very cautious. You have to ask these, people who are giving you loans, where are you getting your resources from? If they're just taking it from the bank, then yes, then they're still creating the same problems in society that conventional mortgages are. So it's just stupid to go through that. But if they say no, we have private lenders who are doing business with you, then you can start looking into their paperwork and see, okay, you know what, it's structured as a business deal between you and an investor, and they're just being the middle person, which they take their, finder's fee for, which is fine. People, if they're helping you find an investor, yes, they deserve to make some percentage. Subhanallah, sometimes I listen to some of the uncles, they say stuff like, oh, these companies take money for themselves. Yeah, no, what do you expect them to do? They're getting investors for you, and you're expecting them to just do everything for free. All you guys expect everybody to just work for free. The mosques shouldn't ask for money, that the ulama should not be paid. They get so annoyed when they find out, oh, some ulama made $1,000 from giving some speech in a big event, in a big conference. What do you expect ulama not to feed themselves, not to feed their kids? So the reality is, yes, there's fees in between, and they're valid fees, and it's okay. There's no problem with that. Next thing, socially responsible. When you go into a halal mortgage, you're actually not affecting the society in a negative way like a conventional mortgage would have been. For example, right now you just saw the bank crash in America, 2 of them. If 3 or 4 of them crash, we will see probably another recession like the 2008 market crash. The 2008 market crash happened because of mortgages, happened because of these interest-based loans. So when you're an added figure on top of it, for example, you'll be like, oh, it's only me, man. It's only one person taking this loan. How many people can it hurt? And you and another person, you make a compounding effect which destroys society. Because when those mortgages cannot be paid back and there's already compounded interest on top, guess what? That means default, which means now the money, everything needs to be figured out from someplace because you can't pay it back, and then there's a crash. And then the economy goes down. People lose their job. This is the reality. Unfortunately, but for us Muslims, we have halal loans, because if, let's just say, you take a loan, things don't work out, you can't pay back the loan, guess what? That person has done a business deal with you. They own that asset also. They can say, okay, give me this percentage of the asset, that's fine. I take up the risk with you because I'm taking benefit from you. So it's an equal share, it's a share of risk. So there's not a huge problem. And this has been proven, and I covered this here. I'll link another video here from the 2008 market crash, how the Muslim banks survived, but the Western banks didn't. Rather, the Muslim banks still came out to be on the top, but the Western banks didn't. So I'm talking about, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Middle East. These banks still did fine because they had mudaraba and musharaka loans. Next thing, and I think this is the most important thing, is in the Quran it says it's haram. It's simple. It's like waging war against your Lord and your Prophet. There's no other concept that you can explain to me that can justify this. Even the people that bring up the necessity, the necessity argument, I'm gonna cover that argument as a whole in the next video. You guys will watch it and you guys can tell me what your opinion is. And generally, you can disagree with me, and the ulama can disagree with me, and I'm more than happy to agree, and come to a conclusion with you guys. As of right now, as of what it seems, there's nowhere near you can bring up the necessity argument for this in the Western world, because you kind of will go into there. Now, I do also want to add one more thing. I want to talk about the pros of this, halal loans, but I also want to let you guys know about the cons of it. Yes, sometimes the rates are a little bit higher, which, is because you're doing business rather than you're doing interest. But two, the second thing is that due to a lack of huge regulations, there is an aspect of complexity that comes in when you're doing these loans, because you're going to probably have to, like, for example, one of these loans, depending on what your situation is it pre-construction, is it a normal house, is it first time, is it 10th time, is it a business? Depending on what it is, you might need to put up 2-3 combination of contracts, and then you can probably end up establishing it within your legal area, like whatever it is legally in your area. And this is because of the laws that have been set up in the West. So that's where the little bit cons come in. To summarize this video, what I really want to get to is that if you're in the West and you're looking to buy a place, or if you're trying to get a place, or if you're trying to get yourself a house that you own, think about the angles that I have already talked about here. There's benefits of going through with halal mortgage, and there's some cons also. But you have to think about, what does these pros and cons do, and what do these two concepts, one being halal mortgages and one being conventional mortgages, affect the income and affect the health of your family also. I haven't talked about the spiritual aspect, because some of you guys are going to be like, okay, well, barakah and all this stuff, why are you talking about it? It doesn't affect me. So I talk about more of the conceptual concepts. So think about it as a whole. Think about it in all angles. Financially, how does it affect you? Islamically, how does it affect you? Barakah wise, how does it affect you and your family, and the food that your kids are eating, the house that your kids are living in? Think about it from the aspect of, how much freedom do you really have in a conventional mortgage versus a halal mortgage, right? Think about all these things and then come to a conclusion, and then go for halal mortgage. Don't even go for conventional mortgage. This is halal and sharia and financial advice. And as a whole, I would say, don't even go for any mortgage, because reality is, man, regardless of what mortgage you're on or what loan you're on, you lose your freedom. As a concept of infinite freedom, you lose it. You cannot just get up and go travel to another country and live there for 5 months. You can't just be like, okay, today I feel like I have $60,000 in my bank. I have 1 year's worth of living expenditure. Let me try to go and spend 6 months of my life and studying deen. You can't. You have to pay mortgages. You have to do all this stuff. And you're stuck in this cycle for 30 years, from the age of 24, 25 till the age of 55, and then you're like, man, I'm too old to do anything else other than this anyway, so let me just continue doing work and paying off loans and stuff like that, and life goes on. So yeah, hope you guys like this video. Let me know what you guys think. Put your comments below. Check me out on my other social media. As always, take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum.